2667 BC. In Egypt, a new king is crowned. He is Djoser, the second ruler of Egypt's Old Kingdom period. Djoser would establish a reputation as a wise and pious ruler. Even 2,000 years after his death, he would remain the model Egypt's later pharaohs sought to emulate. During his reign, he was so popular that he ceased being a mere mortal in the minds of his subjects and became the first of Egypt's pharaohs to be deified as a god.
He is worshipped later on in the 19th dynasty as the opener of stone, which is very significant. They made the connection between Djoser and the discovery of stone.
One of Djoser's first acts upon taking power is to lay the groundwork for his last. He commissions the construction of his tomb complex, the final resting place that will play a central role in his eternal fate. The concept is traditional. Egypt's kings had been building lavish tombs for centuries. But the result this time would be revolutionary. Aside from its unprecedented scale, Djoser's tomb complex would differ from those of his predecessors in one fundamental way. It would be built not from mud bricks, as the previous ones had been, but from stone.
Much of the rest of the world, like the Americas and Europe, was not up to very much apart from, maybe piling a few rocks on top of the other. There was activity in Mesopotamia where you got large-scale mud brick architecture, but Egypt seems to stand alone and is completely unique in its use of stone at that time.
To build his dream tomb out of stone, Djoser turned to his right-hand man, an architect of humble roots named Imhotep. Not only was Imhotep Djoser's chief architect, he was also treasurer, high priest, and vizier, a role roughly equivalent to prime minister. But it would be his groundbreaking work on Djoser's burial complex that would earn him immortal praise. Even the Romans, great engineers in their own right, would one day worship at his altar. But Imhotep's architectural revolution, which would culminate with the construction of the world's first pyramid, didn't begin with one sudden epiphany. At first, he simply set out to build Egypt's biggest and grandest mastaba. The first order of business was to select a burial site for the pharaoh.
Choosing a place for your tomb was a complicated business. The sun rose in the east and would go down in the west, so it would die in the west. And if you were going to be like the sun god, you would be buried in the west. And tombs would then face the east, so they would face the rising sun with the promise of rebirth and resurrection.
Djoser settled on Saqqara, a sacred national cemetery dating back to the age of the pharaoh Menes. It lay on the west side of the Nile, directly adjacent to the capital city of Memphis.